I've gotten a lot of letters like this over the years from people alleging, oh, you got it wrong, but rarely do you get a denial this unequivocal. And so for that reason, we are taking it seriously. There's nothing worse than impugning the reputation of an innocent man. And so I just want to, again, President Herzog says he's never had any contact with Epstein ever. And so I just want to say that in the interest of...
And he's hoping that this will end it. Will it? I don't know. I mean, I think the president's office is really upset, and I think we're going to see whether Herzog and his team accept the apology and let it be that, or decides, no, Tucker purposely tried to libel and defame the character of the president and put it out there, right? You know, Tucker's X feed, his social media feed, is 17 million followers, right? So when Mike Huckabee, Ambassador Huckabee, countered and said, I don't know anything about this. This doesn't sound like, you know, the president I know, but I will find out. Huckabee has 1.9 million followers on X. So, and then there's millions and millions of people that have seen the podcast already on YouTube and on social media. So the damage of the lies have already been done. The question is whether the retraction is enough to cause President Herzog to not pursue the lawsuit. So we'll keep watching that, and we'll report on that at All Israel News. There are multiple other allegations. I mean, lies that Huckabee just systematically exposed. And we'll, let me give you another one just for the moment. Like, Tucker claimed that he was manhandled, mistreated at the airport in Israel as he was preparing to leave the country, and was hauled, that was the word he used, hauled by security into a side room and interrogated, questioned about his conversation with Ambassador Huckabee and why he was in Israel and so forth. Somebody on social media was able to exclusively release a clip of CCTV footage from the airport. Tucker, by the way, flew in on a private jet. He only spent about 4 hours on the ground in Israel, only at the VIP terminal at the Israeli airport, didn't even enter Israel, didn't even go and meet anybody else in Israel, didn't tour, didn't meet with Christians, didn't meet with Jews, didn't meet with anybody else, just did the interview with Huckabee. And the video clip of the CCTV footage, it shows Tucker's laughing, he's hugging one of the security guys, they're taking selfie together, and Israeli officials adamantly deny that anything would happen like that. Huckabee's team that was there, they adamantly denied that any of that happened, and in fact that Tucker was treated respectfully, and he was treated like everybody else coming in and out of Israel. Of course, you're asked questions. It's a country that's been under attack directly for 8 decades, but specifically for the last 2.5 years. So that was something that Tucker and his team, put those lies out even before they released the video of the interview. But at the beginning of the interview, Tucker repeats these lies, and now they've all been debunked by Huckabee, by the Israeli security officials, by the Foreign Ministry of Israel, by the Israel Airport Authority, and by the video. So those are 2 examples. There's more, but I just want to give you these 2, I think, for right now, to give you a sense of there's something really wrong. I mean, deeply wrong. Tucker Carlson says in the video, hey, I'm not against Israel. And Huckabee leans forward. You hide that very well. Huckabee was calm. He was composed. He was a gentleman. He was a Christian gentleman. They talked about theological issues. We'll get into that more in our reporting as well as here on YouTube. But Huckabee was not rattled. He was not flustered. Often Tucker, he attacks, he challenges, and sometimes, like with Senator Ted Cruz, Tucker rattled Cruz. There were times that Cruz didn't really know how to handle Tucker, even though they've been friends for years. And that, I think the senator did a good job, but there were moments that he did not do well, like when he forgot the actual passage in Scripture, Genesis chapter 12, verse 3, where God says, I will bless those who bless you. He's speaking to Abraham, and that's a promise that continues Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and so forth, the sons and children of Israel. Ted Cruz at the time, was sort of pressed by Tucker, where's that verse? Where do you get that from? And Cruz didn't remember the direct address of that specific verse, and Tucker sort of challenges, sort of mocks him. At one point, Ted Cruz and Tucker Carlson are having a firefight. They're debating over President Trump's Iran policy. Ted Cruz sees Iran as a serious threat, the way Tucker used to years ago, before he started being an apologist for the Iranian regime, for Hamas, for radical Islamism, for the Qataris, and so forth. But in that case, I'm contrasting how Ted Cruz did versus how Huckabee did. And I like Ted Cruz, don't get me wrong. He did amazing in that interview overall several months ago. But when they were having this fight, on the podcast, on Tucker's podcast, Tucker presses him. So how many people live in Iran? What's the population of Iran? People live in Iran. What's the population of Iran? Cruz like, I don't know. And Tucker feigns shock. He's like, you don't know. You don't know. You're advocating us to go to war with Iran, and you don't know the population of Iran? He goes, I don't know what it is. I mean, why is that relevant? And so Tucker's like, it's 92 million. The reason I say it is because in the firefight, as it were, it wasn't really a firefight, but it was a pretty intense exchange. It's just that Huckabee knew his facts and he kept his cool, and he's just a solid ambassador. He's a solid Christian. He knows his brief, and he knows the facts of the Middle East. And so at one point, Tucker Carlson is pressing him and saying, there's more Christians in Qatar, Tucker's new best friend, that's been paying him quite a bit of money. That's on public record. And Tucker is claiming that Qatar has more Christians, almost twice as many, he said, than Israel. And Huckabee just won't have it. He's like, that's just not true. You're not accurate, Tucker. There are more Christians in Israel than in Qatar. And Tucker's like, no, there's so many. And so Huckabee says at one point, all right, well, how many Christians are there in Qatar? And you can just see the panic suddenly. And he's like, you got me. I don't know. I mean, I could go get my phone. It's on my phone. I mean, I was just there, but the government told me it's more. And Huckabee just walks him through and he says, look, there are more Christians there in the sense that foreign workers who are living there, they live in a ghetto. These are service workers who serve the Qatar economy. They're not citizens. In Israel, there's 184,000 Christians who are citizens of the state of Israel. In 1948, Huckabee notes, there were about 34,000, and now there's 184,000. And these are citizens with full rights, full protection of religious freedom, right to worship, right to share their faith, right to live their faith. And Huckabee just knew his stuff, and he handled himself well. And it turned out it was such a reversal that Tucker doesn't know what he's talking about. He's just hurling accusations. He's hurling lies, slurs, innuendos. He's trying to smear the Israeli government. He's trying to smear the American government. He constantly was accusing Huckabee of basically not being a good ambassador, of seeing his role as to be supportive of Israel, not to serve the American people and the American government. And Huckabee, again, was not having it. But it was an interesting exchange because we really saw Tucker's heart. It is filled with malice against Israel, malice against Jews. He's got malice against Christians. He claims to be a Christian, and he claims to care for Christians, but he doesn't understand the level of persecution and difficulties that Christians, foreign workers who live in Qatar, they can't wear a cross. Their churches can't show a cross. They can't read the scripture in public. They can't pray in public. They can't share their faith in public. And they can do all of that in Israel, and they're citizens. I'm one of them. And so a lot more to go into, but I just thought, because we haven't even gotten into the issue of Christian Zionism. What's a Christian? What is Zionism? What is a Christian Zionist? Those were big elements of this conversation. But I just wanted to give you a sense of what this podcast revealed. If you have the stomach for it, watch the whole thing. It runs about 2:45, 2 hours and 45 minutes. But the first 20 minutes to a half an hour are Tucker just setting up a series of lies and how he was badly treated in Israel. I mean, it's just such nonsense. But Huckabee handled it so well. And the facts are important. And the fact that Tucker was so rattled and really didn't know his stuff was kind of fun to watch. Pray for Tucker Carlson. Yes, he's doing a tremendous amount of damage against Israel, against Jews, against Christians, and he's attacking President Trump. He says he's not, but he is. He hates the policy of Trump in the 12-day war last year to neutralize and get rid of the Iran nuclear weapons program. Why would that bother him? Tucker had claimed last year that 20,000 Americans would die, but no American died. No one American even got injured last year. So I just say these things because Tucker's not well, right? He's wrong, and he's causing a lot of damage because he has a huge, he's the Goliath right now of anti-Israel social media presence, 17 million followers on Twitter alone, X alone. That's not going to win. It's not going to prevail, but his soul is in danger. I mean, I say that that's not a threat. I'm genuinely worried for him. And I ask you to pray for him and for his family and for his colleagues. He used to be pro-Israel. He used to be against the Iranian regime. He used to be a great defender of President Trump and the Trump agenda. And something has flipped. Something has changed. And everybody I talk to that knows Tucker and has been friends with him for years. I know a lot of people. I don't know Tucker personally. I've met him, years ago, but I don't know him. We've never spent any time talking. But his friends that I talk to, they don't know what's happened to him. Genuinely. It's not like they've told me and I'm not telling you. I mean, they don't know. So please, pray. He's a neighbor. Maybe you see him as an enemy. But he claims to be a follower of Jesus Christ. He's said that he's just read the Bible all the way through for the first time last year. So if he's a true follower of Jesus, he's very ignorant of the scriptures. He's not been He's not been discipled. He has said publicly and repeatedly, nobody has taught him the Bible. He doesn't go to ask people for counsel. So it's a real problem. And I think he has gotten fixated, obsessed with Israel, Jews, and Christians that love Israel and the Jewish people based on the Bible. It's a problem. And please pray for him. From Nashville, from the National Religious Broadcasters Convention right here that we've been at all week, this is Joel Rosenberg for All Israel News.